I made a decision to ignore the voice that was saying, I'm not good enough. The day of the breathwork session came. 25 people attended, and one of them was my mom. And at the end, my mom told me, good job, I'm proud of you. And it hit me straight in the heart. I had just experienced a breakthrough. But none of this would have been possible if it hadn't been for that decision to step into that version of myself that could do it. And that's the key. When it comes to preparing for a breakthrough, it boils down to this one thing. During our last episode, we talked about the importance of trust. More specifically, trust in self. And why, if you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out in life, it's simply because there's an area in your life that's out of alignment with who you are at the core, whether in your health, your wealth, or your relationships. If you haven't checked out that episode yet, go ahead and check it out. You're going to love it. And in this week's episode, we're going to dive into the topic of how do we have a breakthrough? But in order to do that, we have to start from the beginning, which is how to prepare for the breakthrough. So when it comes to creating a life that you love, that's in alignment with your goals and dreams, with what really lights you up inside, it's important to look at the journey as a whole, because on this path, there's going to be twists and turns. There's going to be resistance. There's going to be times where we may question ourselves, where we're like, can I do this? No, I can't. Yeah, I can do it. No, I can't do it. No, I really can do this. So that's why when we look at the journey, it's important to look at it from a certain perspective. It's important to look at it from the perspective of where we are to where we want to be. So what does it really take to get to where we want to be? Back in April of 2023, I made a decision to open up my first breathwork session to the general public. Although I had done breathwork sessions in the past for friends, for colleagues, or for existing clients, I had never opened it up to the public before. I still remember that breathwork session to this day. I started promoting the event 6 days before it began, and I limited it to only 10 spots. And to top it off, I waited until the very last second to promote it because secretly, there was a part of me that was afraid. I was afraid that nobody would be interested. And I figured if I waited 6 days before the event started, at least this way, I had a perfectly logical explanation if nobody showed up. To my surprise, though, the opposite occurred. I received a wave of responses from people who wanted to attend, over 30 to be exact. And one of them was my mom. Up until this point, my mom had never experienced any of my work before. So when she expressed interest in attending, I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do. It's not that I didn't want her to experience it. It's just that I still had some shyness and insecurities I was working through. And having my mom attend was just amplifying all of it. You see, I grew up in an Asian family that was a little more traditional. So doing something like breath work was completely out of the norm. And leading up to the event, I'm sweating and I'm just getting the jitters thinking about it. I can't even sit still or focus. And after a full day of this, I'm just like, I gotta do something different. So I stop what I'm doing, I jump in the car and I drive 35 minutes just to go to the beach. I end up spending hours at the beach over the next 2 days, just staring out into the ocean and walking on the beach, back and forth, over and over and over again. It takes nearly 2 days of doing this before I start to feel better. Not 100% better, but a lot better than I was doing before. I'm still feeling nervous. I'm still feeling scared. I'm still feeling butterflies inside my stomach, but I got a breathwork session to hold and there's over 30 people interested. And one of them is my mom. For the next few days, I reach out to all the people who express interest. And I'm having the conversations. I'm seeing who's able to attend. I'm reviewing my notes. I'm rehearsing what I need to say at all the different points of the breathwork session, picking out all the different songs I'm going to use. I'm practicing going through the breathwork session, switching from song to song, adjusting the volume of the music from high to low, and then back from low to high again at specific points of the session. I'm testing the audio levels. I'm testing the mic levels. I'm making sure that everything's coming in loud and clear. And even though I'm doing all this preparation leading up to the session, I'm still feeling nervous. I'm still feeling scared. I'm wondering if I'm capable of doing this. I'm wondering if I'm capable of leading a group breathwork session that's open to the public. More importantly, though, I'm wondering if I'm going to be okay leading a breathwork session with my mom in attendance. And you know that voice that sometimes creeps up? That self-doubt that's like, who are you to be doing this? Are you sure you can do this? What if you don't do it perfect? What if you screw up? You know that voice, right? Well, this voice is coming in loud and clear. And on one end, that voice is like, nope, you can't do it. And then on the other end, there's that other voice, the voice that's like, you got this. You can do it. You have what it takes. So these voices are coming at me from both sides. And at that point, there's a fork in the road. There was the old image of who I was, the one who was uncertain, who wasn't good enough, who was afraid. And there's the new image of me, the one who was certain, who was good enough, who was willing to go all in. And in that moment, at that fork in the road, I made a decision. I made the decision to ignore the voice that was saying, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. And I made the decision that I was good enough, that I could do it. And I went all in on myself. And finally, the day of the breathwork session came. 25 people attended, and one of them was my mom. And for the first time, my mom got to see the work that I did. And she got to witness all the other people in that room crying, laughing, and sharing all their breakthroughs. And at the end, my mom told me, Edmund, good job. I'm proud of you. And when she said that, it hit me. And it hit me straight in the heart. And in that moment, I had just experienced a breakthrough. But none of this would have been possible if it hadn't been for that decision to step into that version of myself that could do it. And that's the key. When it comes to preparing for a breakthrough, it boils down to this one thing: courageous decisions. Because that's what it's all about. In order to prepare for the breakthrough, you have to be willing to make courageous decisions. And that's what we're all about, helping you get to that point where you can make those decisions. So what courageous decisions are you making in your life? Because yes, there's going to be points and times where we're faced with decisions that can be uncomfortable. And on the other side of that discomfort, that's where the breakthrough occurs. But first, you have to have the courage to decide to go all in, on you, regardless of what anybody else is saying, regardless of what the voices in your head are saying, regardless of whatever doubts or fears that may be coming up. Because in life, we're going to face different events. We're going to face different circumstances. And some of these may be easier or harder than others. And I know that. And I'm sure that you know that too. You know those decisions that are easier and some that are harder. And as long as we have the courage to keep going, as long as we have the courage to see it through, then we're one step closer to that breakthrough. And so as we continue into our next episodes, where do we go from here? And what happens as we create our own breakthroughs? We're going to continue to explore this piece by piece from all different angles. In upcoming episodes, we're going to continue to explore different ways that people break through in the hope to inspire and support you so that you can create the life that you love and make decisions that are aligned to your goal. These courageous decisions that will change your life. I'll see you in the next episode. And here's a special bonus gift for our listeners. We're all about getting you into alignment so you can live a life that you love. It's a breathwork meditation that I highly suggest that you do. Go through it, experience it, and share with me the results. You can access it at www.createyournextbreakthrough.com, or you can check it out in the description below. This has been your host, Edmund. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.